Hello, Facebook family. How is everybody doing today? Today is the 1st of October. We're live on Facebook Live and on YouTube. Unfortunately, I was supposed to come on at 10 o'clock and the show was, I don't know, shut down. This is my 20th episode on Kitchen Talk with Leanne. And, I started this show because we went into COVID and all of our businesses were kind of shut down at the moment. And I wanted an outlet that could reach people about real estate, finance, lifestyle, and more. And we've had some great episodes from top cooking chef. We've had business women on the show. We've had credit repair. We talk about real estate. We talk about a lot of things. But as we enter November voting, I have to use this platform as an outlet to give information to everybody. I recently got a message on one of my shows that my show was more democratic. I was not being opening up for liberal, conservative Christians, and went on of that nature. I did respond to the person, said my business does not have to do anything with my political preference. Good luck to you and vote. And I later found that person on Facebook, and that person was a Trump supporter. So I'm not prime time, but I guess I have arrived. I got attention from people. But my point is, I want to get attention to everybody that's hearing my voice today. If you listen to this show on replay, this is serious, everybody. Here I am, a little talk show, getting a little attacked by someone. Okay. So this show, up until November the 3rd, I will have it open to people want to come on talk about the propositions. We got to vote, you guys. It is your vote. It's your voice. It's your vote. It's serious. We should not be intimidated. And, we'll get through this. We'll get through this together. And we'll get through this, and we'll make sure that we'll get this country back on its own feet. And remember, you have the down ballots. If we don't like anything out there that we don't agree with, look at your local levels. Local levels. We got to vote, everybody. We have to vote. And the show for today was for the purpose of having the candidate judge for the Los Angeles County Superior Court, seat 72, Mrs. Myanna Dellinger. I have her on the show. She is running for the seat. She wants to talk to people about why she should be the judge on the Superior Court, seat 72. And I have her on the show, but I'm going to play a video first. And we're going to have her come on, talk a little bit about, well, not a little bit, but we want her to talk about why we should vote for her. Okay? Why we should vote for her. We should be looking at all the judge seats, okay? Because the lower judicial seats are just as important as the higher judicial seats. And if you're in LA County, whatever county you are, whatever state, you need to know who is running and support. So I'm going to play the video now of Miss Myanna Dellinger, and then she's going to come on the show. We're having technical difficulties on that one, but we're going to play another, and then we'll have her on the show.
experience working with both state and federal court judges on the appellate and the trial court levels. That experience makes me uniquely qualified to work with cases as a trial court judge on the LA Superior Court. I have more than 10 years of experience working with people from many different backgrounds as a law professor. I've trained more than 1,300 people how to apply facts to the black letter law in a fair and unbiased manner. I'm diverse, I'm thorough, I'm tough when I need to be, and I'm unbiased. My name is Myanna Dellinger, and I'm running for judge on the LA Superior Court.
All right, that's Miss Myanna Dellinger. She's running for the judge seat, Superior Court, and I have her on. How are you today?
Very good. Thanks for having me on. Good morning, folks.
Yes. Well, what we experienced this morning was something I've never experienced before. But you tell me you have.
Oh, yes. I have seen intimidation strategies and attacks and, nasty comments galore for a year and a half right now, and intensifying right now as the election is drawing nearer. There are definitely forces out there that don't want to see me elected, and that's as it's to be expected in an election. But there's also nasty strategies and things behind the scenes that are going on. Definitely nasty comments on Facebook all the time. You block them, and it's just amazing to me how much hate and venom there is out there simply for trying to get some justice for all and to, as is my right, to run for a seat as the outsider, the non-establishment candidate. There's a lot of pushback, and it's getting nasty, and it has been for a while. So yeah, I've seen a lot of this before.
Yeah, I as I stated, this is my 20th episode of Kitchen Talk with Leanne. Come a long way. And like I said, when I started this, not thinking about November, but as things have evolved, this platform is now part of getting people to know who's running for office, the judge seats, the propositions, things of that nature. And it's just surprisingly that would happen to my show this morning. So don't know exactly what happened or why it happened, but 20 episodes is never happened.
You know what, though? I will think that your readers or your listeners, rather than viewers, are going to find this interesting too. That I found shocking, because political debate is to be expected. That's sound in a democracy. One of the district attorneys who works closely with my opponent, because they're in the same office, so again, it's one big law firm, filed a formal complaint against me this past summer. A formal complaint, mind you, with a California State Department. And why? Because the district attorney, was upset and thought I had gone beyond what I could do as a judicial candidate for, believe it or not, but speaking out in favor of the Black community and diversity and racial equality, criminal justice reform, things like that, all non-party political, but things that I am obviously supporting as a law professor and as a potential judge. And that, of course, complaint was dismissed immediately as having absolutely no merit. But I think it really goes to show you the lengths the opposition is going to when they'll go to the state of California to claim.
It's just starting.
Yeah. Yep.
Just starting.
Yep.
Well, we're going to dig into why you should be the judge of the seat 72 Superior Court, LA County.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at your resume. I'm going to briefly read a little bit. It says you're temporary. This is your judiciary related experience. Temporary judge, Los Angeles Superior Court, trials and arraignments. You worked on 300 plus criminal cases, as well as a dozen of immigration, civil cases, business free speech, tort, constitutionally related to police cases, etc. With trial and appellate level judge, conducted legal research in writing and proposed legal opinions, on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit, the nation's second highest court after the U.S. Supreme Court. Your high-level employment results: you are a full tenured professor of law. Of course, we're in COVID, so you're online right now.
Yep.
At a nationally ranked ABA accredited law school, Fulbright scholar, climate change, law policy, and the top 10% author globally by download the SSRN for 3 years in a row. Your article has been cited by more than 100 judges, attorneys, government agencies, and other educators. So we're going to play another video. And I like to play videos because, of course, we have you here, you're live, but we also can see you also in a video and also a different presentation of you. So we're
Absolutely.
going to try this video. Hopefully it works okay.
Okay, great.
All right.
Experience working with both state and federal court judges on the appellate and the trial court levels. That experience makes me uniquely qualified to work with cases as a trial court judge on the LA Superior Court. I have more than 10 years of experience working with people from many different backgrounds as a law professor. I've trained more than 1,300 people how to apply facts to the black letter law in a fair and unbiased manner. I'm diverse, I'm thorough, I'm tough when I need to be, and I'm unbiased. My name is Myanna Dellinger, and I'm running for judge on the LA Superior Court.
Okay, I like the fact that you're unbiased.
It seems like that's one of the basics for a judicial position. So yes.
So go ahead.
So that's also, I think, why I'm seeing a lot of pushback, as I am, that I am not the establishment candidate, and that's a good thing, you know. So many people come, or so many judges rather, come from prosecutorial backgrounds already. Lots of prosecutors are running again. The laws changed in their favor for the election. That people don't know what a deputy district attorney is. That's a prosecutor. Okay. What have they done for you and your community lately? Not a whole lot in that branch. The execute, so as district attorneys, and all of the debate about that, right, and the racial problems and the police shootings and all of that. And what people don't know is a lot of those go on to become judges. And so I'm presenting myself as something different. I think we need an outside candidate and some other people from other professional backgrounds. Yeah. But again, yes, you'd think that's a good thing, and that is a good thing. But the powers that be and the traditional forces are, you know, of course, this is how power structures have been set up for years. And we know that by and for certain people that want to retain the power. And so I'm seeing a heck of a lot of pushback, and more so than I think is appropriate for a judicial seat. So yes, I'm unbiased. I'm not a prosecutor. I'm not yet another prosecutor running for office. I'm also not a public defense counsel. I'm a law professor. And the one thing that we've seen recently that both Trump and Biden actually agree on, one thing, and what is that? That is that law professors make great judges, because they're often appointing them, as with Amy Coney Barrett. And she was a law professor recently and still is an adjunct. And why is that? It's because obviously it's really difficult to get to be a law professor. It's not an easy job. And I think people kind of look at it like, oh, what do you really do? These days, we have to show people how to work with the law, and people from various backgrounds. I teach civil rights, human rights, business situations, and we have to do all of that from a neutral background and show our students that become successful judges, at least in my case, how you do that, not just from one side or the other. And so that's why I could come and bring something fresh and new and an outside thing to the judiciary, instead of just, to be honest, more of the same that we see doesn't work, right? Let's just be honest, folks. What we have right now doesn't work. The criminal justice system really does need some overhaul. Everyone agrees with that. And so I think we need to look at too, not only the prosecutors and that whole branch that's going on in and of itself, but as you, Leanne, said correctly, judges too. Who do we elect? They sit for life, pretty much. Did you know that? So there's so much focus on the Supreme Court justices, and they too sit for life, as we've seen and found out recently. You can vote on those, but you can vote, like Leanne said, for your down ballot races. That's right. And for judges and others, and they sit for life. Think about that, folks. Do you want more and more people just from the same law office, basically, and the prosecutorial office? That's the district attorney's office. Right. No, I think we need some more diversity. So that's what I'm saying.
And you brought up a point, and it's hard if someone has been a prosecutor for a long time, and then you're going to move from prosecutor to a judge seat. My question is, are you going to be non-biased? Are you going to be able to utilize some opportunities that I believe you as a judge, when you become a judge, there's certain guidelines you have with things that you can do and cannot do on your trials, correct?
Correct.
So my question to you would be, for lesser crimes, I think when you were on the show before, you gave me a stat of the incarceration for over the white males versus the blacks, and it was 422. I think it was over out of 100,000. It was 422, and the African Americans were over 4,000.
Correct. In California, yep. Correct. So the statistics speak for themselves, right? We think we're so progressive and so fair in California. And that's laudatory, but that's not what the facts and the statistics show. So I'm the kind of person that I really do believe in facts and statistics and learning new things and trying new methods when we know the tried and true doesn't work. So yes, correct. In California, for every one white male who's incarcerated, there's 10 black men. 10 times as many black men are incarcerated in California as white men.
Yeah.
And why is that? So when you look at, so that's again the prosecutors that have to look within themselves in that whole branch. What we know recently, and what I've pointed out recently, that in LA County over the past 20 years, there's been about 900 incidents of police brutality. About 80 of them were against people of color, and only one was prosecuted. And so again, that's that entire, reform that Jackie Lacey and her opponent, George Gascon, talk about, that has nothing to do with the judicial seat. But what I'm saying is I am not from that branch, and I think that's a healthy thing. I'm the outsider, and we really do need, I firmly believe personally, in fresh new perspectives from many different backgrounds, racially too, immigration wise, gender wise. Many judges are men. There's not very many from other countries. It tends to be people from the same background. And Governor Newsom has even pointed out we need diversity on the bench.
Yeah, good. And my other question would be other alternatives that judges can make from cases. Of course, high crime, rape, murder, things of that nature.
Right.
But judges can offer lighter sentences for those who, case by case, instead of just throwing everybody in jail.
Sure.
And look at cases differently.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, there's different factors that judges can and should look at in California. So we're talking about state law here and criminal law only. And yes, there are different factors, mitigating and aggravating factors, as they're called. So the good and the bad in each circumstance and in relation to each person and their backgrounds and their, potentially their family situation, mental health, economic status, a lot of different things actually that judges can and I think should look at. Unless you're the traditional conservative, and I'm not talking about politically, but judicially conservative type that believes that you should just throw people in jail and basically throw away the key, that's the analogy. And I don't personally believe in that, and I am getting pushback for that. But I think we need to look at that. Doesn't help people, especially people of color. I just listed the stats, right? And we need to look at that as judges because most judges are white. Yeah. And so it comes naturally, and I'm Caucasian too, but at least I'm aware of these issues and I'm not denying it. And I don't come from that whole background. So I'm willing to, lend a critical voice and of course be tough on, I'm not talking about letting the serial killer go free or anything like that. But in a lot of cases, it really doesn't make sense to just incarcerate people. And we know that when people are in jail, they learn more, more about drug dealing, they get involved with crimes. We just know that does not work for people of color that are the vast majority of the incarcerated people, or disproportionately so at least. And it certainly doesn't work for their communities, their families and their communities. And it doesn't work for society. Let's just be honest and admit that. And I have done that. And then I'm getting pushback just for mentioning facts and, this whole thing. Because as you'll see, a lot of other judges or judicial candidates are promising to be fair and unbiased, and basically voters don't know. And so I think voters ought to know what we stand for. So I stand for something, the different outside perspective.
Okay. We're going to show, let's see, I think we have it, your endorsements. So we're going to show those in a minute. Let's see. Yeah, we're going to see if we can show your endorsements. You also said that you were, you've just gained an endorsement. Can you talk about that?
Absolutely. I'm very proud to say that I was just endorsed, my latest endorsement, which a lot of them are from different progressive and different community-based organizations, and once again, not the establishment. But yes, I was just endorsed by the Sunrise Movement here in the Los Angeles hub, which is the umbrella organization. So the Sunrise Movement started out being a climate change organization, and it looks like they're branching out into a little bit broader perspectives as well. And we also know that for people of color and people of lower means, climate change and environmental issues are a huge issue, right? We know that from Flint, Michigan to the Dakota Access Pipeline, to even all the people of color that live up and down the 710 corridor and the downtown areas that are heavily polluted, and that will be disproportionately affected by climate change. So I'm really proud to have been endorsed by that movement. And we're getting a video out with the support also of Jane Fonda, Joaquin Phoenix, and several other celebrities that will be broadcast on Friday, the 9th of October. They're confirming still with some celebrities. So why is that important? I think it's important because I think society is finally seeing that we simply have to have some positive change coming from many different angles. And what do judges have to do with climate change? Well, a whole lot, actually, in some cases, right? So environmental regulations in cases are also sometimes heard by judges. Sure, the legislature and the elected leaders need to adopt regulations and so forth, but who's hearing that? The judges. And regardless, we do need change from all angles and more focus on this. And about climate change in particular, we know that, like I said, disproportionately affects people of color. And that goes around the world, actually, also, and that we really do need to have more awareness of that. So I'm really proud about the grassroots, sort of the sensible reform support I'm getting from, again, not the establishment and the traditional forces, but, a lot of, down to earth, regular people like myself from blue collar backgrounds and all sorts of backgrounds, and not just the elite.
Okay. Well, make sure I'm not muted here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is a live show, and we do have a couple of guests on. Looks like, let's see, we have, Regina. Hey, Leanne. Hello. How are you, Regina?
Mm-hmm.
And she's saying 10 black males to 1 white male incarceration is a fact in California. So with a sad face, and this is the issues that we're having. I don't know all the judges that sit in the Superior Court, but we know that by the stats of how many are getting incarcerated. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many of those have about their record, but, could some other things be done in order to eliminate incarceration? So, like you said, we need a change in that system. I'm not sure if someone that's been a prosecutor for 7 years, 12 years, however long, can you have a different hat once you become a judge? A prosecutor is really, that's their job, to prosecute you. So anyway.
And we also know, incidentally, and that is how it should be. Their job is to prosecute. We do need prosecutors in society. They do need to look within at who they're prosecuting and why not. Why not? That whole disproportionateness. But we do also know it's a fact that they have to work closely with the police and cooperating with the police on securing the best, or in succeeding in their cases, rather. So,
Okay.
Yeah, there's that cooperation that I don't have. I'm completely from the outside.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm going to play another video. I believe this is on police brutality that you actually submitted. So
sure,
we'll play that one.
Okay. My name is Myanna Dellinger. I'm running for seat number 72 on the LA Superior Court. Recent events have shown that there's been a lot of police brutality in LA County and elsewhere. For instance, a Los Angeles Times article stated that over the past 20 years, there have been 880 incidents of police brutality, but only 2 were prosecuted. Of course, it's the district attorney and the deputy district attorneys that choose to prosecute these cases or not. About 40 to 45% of judges come from various prosecutorial backgrounds. And of course, that's not a problem in and of itself. I'm not at all saying that. I do, though, support more diversity in many ways, including in professional experience, life skills, and background. I am not controlled by special interests. I'm supported by grassroots community groups who support reasonable police reform. And my name is Myanna Dellinger. Check me out at dellingerforjudge.com.
All right.
So
That was
yes,
you.
yeah, I have not received any law enforcement funds or any fossil fuel support for that matter from those two big segments. And so on the campaign trail, I've seen a lot of backpedaling right now, that people have this new awareness of what the district attorneys are, their prosecutors, and what they do and what they don't do. So a whole lot of backpedaling about how they really have, in their careers defended both sides and all that. Yeah, right. They are what they are. Just stand by what you are. They're prosecutors, say it, that's what it is. And I am not, and I don't have any of all that support, which is a plus. I'm not beholden to any of these special interests. And I'm not saying anyone is that's in the current judiciary, but I'm just raising the fact that everyone is, and Governor Newsom too, we need diversity from many different backgrounds.
Yeah, good. And that's my thing, voting for judge, and I think you also had a video about that too, and I'll try to find that. A lot of voters do not take the time to learn the judge seats. That's why I have you on the show.
Thank you.
Because I think people need to understand, God forbid we ever have to come to Superior Court, but we need to know how that judge seat, that judicial system works. And, we need to learn, like we said, we need to learn our local judge seats, our local candidates that's running. And I wanted to have you on so you can have your voice. I understand that you are an outsider, and that is a lot of the pushback that you're getting. But I wanted that opportunity for you to come on the show so you can talk about it. But we'll come back to you.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll get a little more questions. We did get one. Let's see. I think it's Virginia with another question. She said 10 black males out of one incarceration fact. Okay. Yes, it is. Yeah.
And also, we think we're so good and progressive in California with incarceration statistics, and we're actually not at the top of sort of a fairness scale. We're about only 10th from the top. We're actually doing worse than, I don't have those stats in front of me right now, but we're doing worse incarceration-wise racially than, I think it was Texas and Oklahoma and some states like that you think are more racially biased. We're actually in California doing worse. So I think we need to look at, come on, people, it's California, we need to do some things. So yeah,
we do. We do. And, with all the backlash was going on now, it's just, it's
unbelievable and it's nasty. And I'm seeing it too. And even for judicial seats, that is just highly inappropriate. And that's another thing is, people, do you want somebody that's been just a lot of, anger and, stuff poured out? I mean, that's below the belt. Do people support somebody like that who wants to be judged? I just think that's incredible. So another thing, I'm used to being calm and neutral and in control of the situation from many different backgrounds. And I'm getting but you're a law professor and you're not in trial court every day. No, but I'm in a classroom every day with lots and lots of people, and and I can handle people and the law, and that's what judges need to be able to do. So, but another little tidbit of information, you talked about how to find out and how important it is to find out about down ballot races, judicial and otherwise. So viewers, you could go on to something called votersedge.org and look up people, not only judicial candidates, but everyone. So it's a neutral organization for transparency. It's called votersedge.org. And there's also, of course, Ballotpedia. Ballotpedia is a little tricky to work with. So you can put in ballotpedia.org or Ballotpedia, and then the candidates' names in Google to find us individually. And it's really worth it. As you see from the statistics, voting is hugely important. You don't get to vote for the Supreme Court justices and those, but you do get to vote for a lot of other people. Mm-hmm. And some of us are trying to put our agendas out there. And so just Google people, if nothing else, and don't trust everything you see out there, but Ballotpedia and Voters Edge and our own websites too, I think, give people also for school boards or, other things, a good impression of who we are. So that's an easy way of doing it. And then if you can't find out about people, judges or otherwise, why are they not saying anything? Then I would think, well, why are they not saying anything, right? I mean, is there something? What have they done recently? You know, my opponent, for instance, has spent the better part of his recent campaign not backstab, but pushing back about me and my credentials or whatever. He's not talked about what he's done. He claims, or they claim often, votersedge.org, they claim the district attorneys do that. They're in court every day. That is factually not true. Ask any of the judges or look up the statistics. I haven't even bothered. That is not true. I have worked with judges behind the scenes, so, a lot. So look at what people are saying. And so again, what, the credentials actually are, instead of all this backstabbing and bad talk. So he spent, a good part of his campaign talking about me instead of bringing his own credentials to it. Does he not have any credentials? Things like that. So.
Okay, I have a comment from a viewer.
Okay.
Rodney D. Okay. Votersedge.org. He has 2 question marks.
Okay, I think that's it. I'm pretty sure. And Ballotpedia. Yeah, so in Ballotpedia, you want to just do people's names in quotes in Google. So for instance, Ballotpedia, and then quote in Google, in the Google search field, Myanna Dellinger, end quote. And then it comes up, because Ballotpedia is a little difficult to work with. But other than that, I'm pretty sure it is .org. Yep, okay. Ballotpedia.org, but that's nationwide, so that's why it's a little harder. But you can troll through it if you're good with IT, or Votersedge also.org.
Okay. And
they ask us questions that we then answer. So my opponent has the same questions, and then we answer them individually. I haven't checked his, but you should do that as voters, so you can see what rhymes more with what you believe in. Yes, Votersedge.org.
Okay. Then I have another viewer says, I have an issue with AB 145 bill.
Okay. So I don't know them by number, and I don't know what the issue is. So I'm
Regina, can you explain that bill?
Oh, the probation officers one. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so she'll get back to us on that one.
Yeah, I should say there are rules for how we're not supposed to comment on specific legislation that may come not before us, because we don't adopt it. So again, bear in mind, judges judge once something has become the law, but we don't actually legislate, right? So we don't make the law. So that's your elected lawmakers that that do that.
We have some viewers out there, and again, we have Myanna Dellinger, candidate for judge of Los Angeles County Superior Court, seat number 72. We would love for you to give your comments to her. We have her here on the show. Things that she can answer. I'm sure she will. If she can't, she will say she could not. But this is important. She's on the ballot. She's going to be on the ballot November 3rd, and we're getting ready now to get our ballots and our absentee ballots, and we're ready. We're all fired up. We're all fired up.
Hey.
Yeah, Myanna, let's talk a little bit about the beautiful lady that we lost.
Mm-hmm.
And can you talk a little bit about Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg and what's happening?
Yes, and I should say about AB 145, it's different than what I mentioned. They number them, and they use the same number from election to election. So it's apparently about sex offenders. Okay. But again, you should vote for elected leaders that will vote the way you do, and you should vote for the judges that think that if there's an issue about the interpretation of the laws, that can better apply it the way you want to see it applied, whether it's traditionally or more progressively. I'm the more progressive candidate in that respect, I think it's fair to say. So yes, about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, that was terrible. Yeah. Bless her heart. She did so much. She meant so much to so many. And I'm sure we all wish she could have hung on for just a few more days, literally. So this, again, is why it's important to always go vote. Because, had the election turned out differently some time ago, then another president would have been in. And if you would have seen somebody else, again, it's all whether you want to see it one way or another, whether you're for the Trump candidate or the Obama candidates for judicial seats, you got to go vote in all states. Whatever, voting really does matter, from the down ballot races and all the way up, because now you don't get to vote on the next person for this seat. So yeah, Ruth Bader Ginsburg was a staunch advocate for progressive values, fairness, and for the people. And so I identify a lot with her, and I've cited to her before because, you know, she too, like me, came from very modest background, worked her way up to the top, did well in law school, did really well in life, but didn't forget the people behind her and the people that where she came from. So she worked for LGBT rights, and especially, of course, is famous for her gender rights fight, which are still very, very important. So I hope we get someone who has the same awareness of those issues and that will carry on her legacy in the future. What I too will say about her was that that she is being lauded for some of the same things that I'm being attacked for. So people say she was such a brave woman and she had courage to always say, you know, speak her mind about legal issues, however she thought about issues of justice and fairness and so on. And she did, as well as we should. And, you know, so in my race right now, some forces are trying to shut me up from doing the exact same thing as a candidate, even though we are not only allowed to, but encouraged to. But that's kind of beside the point. I'm proud of her, and I think we need strong women that are fair and able to stand up for everyday people, no matter what their backgrounds are, and not just the, you know, sort of more, you know, conservative view on things from the bench is my, and again, I'm not talking about politics, but I'm talking about societal issues and progress, and like what she did for gender rights and things that we still need to carry forward. And again, racial issues, of course, as we see, still has a ways to go, you know.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break for one of our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay. Bell Home Care Incorporated, California home care provider, assistance with activities of daily living. With our gentle touch, we will care for you with all our hearts. Bell Home Care, located in Pasadena, California. They can be reached at 626-541-6851. Bell Home Care. All right. So, you know, I'm going to play another video. I hope this one can come up. Let's see. We're going to try this one. If not, I'll come back to you. Yeah, that one, it looks like we have a problem with that one. Let's try this one.
My name is Myanna Dellinger. I'm running for seat number 72 on the LA Superior Court bench. So what about criminal justice reform? Will I be tough on crime when I need to be? Yes.
Okay, we're having some technical difficulties. So
that's all right.
We have you live here today. So
that's all right.
We're gonna go ahead and play, you know, listen to you today.
Okay.
And if we can get the other ones up, we will do that. So again, we want to thank everybody for joining in. This is Kitchen Talk with Leanne. This is a live interactive show, live on Facebook Live and on YouTube. So we're here with Myanna Dellinger. She's the candidate for Judge of Los Angeles Superior Court, Los Angeles County Superior Court, seat number 72. We're glad that you were able to come back on the show. November 3rd is approaching. What can you tell LA County? They're watching you right now. What will make you different than any other judge that's sitting on the seat? Are you going to think the same? Or are you going to try to make some differences?
Yes, I'm definitely going to try to make some differences. So I have a record of, as a law professor, rocking the boat a little bit, as we're supposed to do. But I have spoken out in favor of environmental regulations and environmental justice and fairness in that respect, doing some action on climate change, but also just fairness in general. And I think judges, of course, need to follow the laws it's adopted. But yes, there is room for interpretation and sentencing and things like that. And also looking at new issues, for instance, restorative justice or rehabilitative justice are two issues that are looked at a lot for the criminal justice system. So, for instance, rehabilitative justice is, again, the notion that I'm very interested in and that I would want to investigate, of course, within the, on a case by cases and when I could. But it's the notion that, again, we know that it doesn't help to just throw people in jail. They don't become better persons. Something else needs to happen. So, for instance, I would be interested in looking at, could people, while they're potentially serving time, could they also get some, on-the-job training, education? There's different possibilities like that. Do they need mental health assistance? Do they need, what else do they need that we could help them with? Do they maybe not even need to go to jail at all because it's a drug crime and they might need medical assistance? Just other things within the discretion that courts have. Yes, I'm willing to look at that and investigate that. And people might say that, and watch out what, again, people can promise a lot of things. So I would look again at the records of success people have. So for instance, on my website, dellingerforjudge.com, I've posted my whole resume for transparency, but also to back up the claim that I'm not just talking about these things right here and now because I happen to be running for an elected seat. I've been promoting these voices and these issues for my whole legal career, basically. And I'm proud of that. And despite some of the pushback and all the establishment sort of interest in keeping me away from the seat, I am talking to a lot of people on the ground. I'm out, just handing out flyers and whatnot, and a whole lot of people support me, and they say, "Wow, people on the street really want to see some reform," and that's what I would be standing for. And I'm not afraid of pushback, as you can see during this campaign or before. I've gotten pushback before, but I, like Ginsburg and others, I use them as role models and remind myself that in many ways we have to, like John Lewis said, raise a little bit of good trouble here and there to cause attention to some things that have to be changed. Things are working well enough for the elite white folks, let's just be honest, right? And big corporations, yeah, people will complain and corporations will complain. But I don't consider it to be a just, fair society when, like we mentioned the statistics before, for, the incarcerated are people of color, and, there's these protests in the street. Nobody wants to see all that. And so we need to look at the mistakes we made and learn from them. That's all I'm saying. And that goes for judges too. And the judiciary and the legislature will act, as and adopt laws as they see fit. But yes, I think we do, all of us at all levels of government and elsewhere, learn from mistakes and not be, afraid to say, okay, we thought we meant well maybe, but this or that or the other doesn't work. So then we have to look at what's done in other states or other countries, or what do, the scientists find out in their closed circuit studies and research. There's a lot of good research out there that's being done from other places that we could try out in California too, instead of just putting up with the status quo, unless of course you want to put up with the status quo, but I don't think very many people are wanting to do that.
Right. Okay, me back on the screen here. So all right, well, we're winding down on the show, and I wanted to see if we have any more guests out there that have comments that they want. Don't seem to have any. And I was waiting to see if our viewer Virginia wanted to comment a little more on that bill that she gave. So,
I see that that's, and I do also know that that's taking some heat, because it's about more leniency for sex offenders if there's a less than 10-year age gap between the victim and the rapist. Okay. And again, rape is horrible, and I'm not at all saying I'll be soft on everyone and letting serial killers out of prison and all that stuff. But again, and I can't comment too much on it, the legislature will have to adopt laws through Governor Newsom, with his corporation too. I don't know if he proposed it or whatever. I'm just looking at it, like I said, in the background. No, he just signed it a few days ago. Again, in general, my judicial philosophy is to be tough when I need to be, but not necessarily just the type that just will be tough just to be tough. I think that doesn't make sense. I can when I need to be, but I'm also willing in general. I'm not talking about the adoption of that bill or not, but in general, as judges actually in California are supposed to do, again, look at aggravating and mitigating circumstances. But unfortunately, this is again why it's important to vote in down ballot races. If, heaven forbid, but in my opinion, but if Roe v. Wade, for instance, got overturned by the Supreme Court, my private opinion is, and I'm not afraid of saying that privately, I support women, deciding over their own bodies. But should the Supreme Court turn that around, I, as a judge, then would have to do what they tell me to do. Right. And so I can have personal opinions about things, but as a judge, I would do follow Supreme Court precedent and, of course, what the legislator enacts. But in general, I take a little bit more of a new, modern, non-establishment outside of view to sentencing and how to reduce crime in general and how to punish it. But I can also be tough when I need to be.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to try to play this video again. We'll see if it's going to play for us. We'll see. All right, that's a great video.
I like
that
it.
one. Yeah,
I know.
I like the fact that you're out in the community. It looks like you work with all walks of life.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I was born and raised in ghetto-like conditions in Denmark, and people go, no, there's no ghettos in Denmark. Yeah, believe me, there were. So that's kind of my background, just being used to, fighting for the things that I think is right and cooperating with everyone and being respectful and friendly and mindful towards everyone. Yeah. And I don't see that being so much the case in current government systems, and certainly not in the judiciary. So yeah, that's me.
Okay. Well, we want to thank you for coming on, as always. Again, everybody, Myanna is going to be on the ballot for the Los Angeles County Superior Court seat 72. That is the seat number. Just give us about 2 minutes, if you can. Talk about the 3 branches of government.
Sure.
Because I think people need to know, we're looking at the local and then we're talking about Superior Court. I think people need to see how serious that is when we're voting.
Yes, absolutely. I could not agree more, because people tend to think it's not important and they don't know about the judges and they just shrug it off. And you should know a lot of things are going on underneath the radar screen, so to speak. So the executive branch is in California, the governor, and nationally the president and his or her executive branches, so all the departments of government that can propose, say, executive orders in California, and as we see, Trump can also propose initiatives and executive orders that can get voted on, or that if they're executive orders, that's a bigger debate, but they have powers in and of themselves. And certainly they set policy direction, and they administer this, but they execute the office of administering the government. So the legislative branch, that's your elected lawmakers in the California legislature and in Congress, the Senate and the House of Representatives in Congress. And they elect written laws, right? So the tax law, or the Civil Rights Act, and all that kind of stuff. And that's really where action can come from, and should also come from. That's the second branch of the government. Mind you, in a common law country, so my specialty is the judiciary, right? Because that is a third co-equal branch of the government under the Constitution, meaning it's not unimportant. As you see, a lot of the important rights we got in this society actually very arguably stem from the judiciary. Civil rights, gay rights, voting rights, gun rights, all of that was decided not by the legislature, right? I mean, because they didn't act, or they did act, or the Constitution was unclear and so forth. So then the judges interpret the law. That's natural, and that's what happens in a common law country. So the judiciary actually is a third of so in other words, judges have a third of the power. And I think people vastly tend to forget that. And they just think, well, and I get a lot of comments saying, you should just apply the law. You're going to be a judge, just apply the law. Yes, I'm right, and I will too. But there's a lot of cases where the law is unclear, or it needs to be, there's, leeway, as we talked about, for instance, in sentencing or in other ways. So then judges not only should, but must, in our government system, step in and act. And as we see the Supreme Court, we know that they have a lot of power, but not a lot of cases get to the Supreme Court. So there's also a lot of power being wielded by judges who tend, by effect, to sit for life whether they're appointed or elected. Most actually are appointed by the governor, who has not appointed very many prosecutors for good reasons. So a lot of prosecutors run for office. So think about who you vote for, because it tends to be, like I said, a powerful branch of the government, very quiet and very unrecognized, but a co-equal branch along with the executive and the legislature. All three of them. That's the sort of balancing, checks and balances. So very important, all of them.
Yeah. Yeah. So there I am. Get myself on the screen. Well, thank you for explaining that, because I think everyone needs to understand that because this next election is so important. It's so tearfully important. I think people need to realize that we need to vote for your down ballot. We need to make some changes in the Senate, because, for example, Kentucky, Mr. Harrison is running against Lindsey. North Carolina, we got a lot going on in Kentucky. We need people to get out and vote. And again, your vote is your voice. And we hope we'll vote for you for November the 3rd. We got a lot of time. I'd love to have you back on maybe another time before November 3rd, if you like.
I'd love to be back on. Attempts to shut us down are not going to work if that's what it is. So
okay. All right.
It's been an honor. Thank you so much. And it's important. So people remember the down ballot and the judicial race is hugely important for everyone and everyone's rights or lack of them. Yeah.
And like I said, everyone, you know what? Her website, I'll put that up for you so you can see it.
DellingerforJudge.com.
Yep. DellingerforJudge.com, and put that up so you can see it, and you will be able to see more information about her. DellingerforJudge.com. I want to thank you. I'm going to close out with you, not the show, but I'm going to close out with you on your last video here, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you so very much. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Yes. Thank you. And thanks to everyone for listening.
Okay. Okay, I think we had a little technical difficulty there.
That's okay. Professor, I have trained more than 1,300 people to work with the law in a neutral and professional and ethical manner. I will bring that skill set to the LA Superior Court bench. My name is Myanna Dellinger, and I'm running for judge on the LA Superior Court.
All right. Well, we wanted to play that last video of you so people can hear from you one more time before you get out of here. But remember, Myanna Dellinger for Judge.com. All right. Well, we'll see you next time.
Seats. Thank you.
Okay, great.
More female voices too. Thank you.
That's right. Thank you. All right, everybody. We want to thank you for joining Kitchen Talk. We have a few more minutes of the show. Man, today has been very interesting. We started our show as we always do at 10 a.m. For some reason, the show was blocked. We did not go on air, so we had to reschedule the show. We were able to get back on. This is my 20th episode, and I've never experienced that before. So this has just been an incredible experience. We're in these times, I guess, of intimidation. I'm not, nor should you be. Just stick to what you believe and what you want to do. I understand our ballots are actually some have arrived, and we should be getting them soon. I hope to have my next show. We'll have some information about the deadlines on when you need to vote, when you need to register. But I will share some information with you before we end the show. You are most welcome to go to, you can visit, I'm sorry, vote.org. It is a site. We have 32 days available that you can register. You can also check to see if where your polling places are. You will have that access to on this site. And let me get that up so you can see it. There you go. 32 days, 13 hours, 32 minutes, and 56 seconds, everybody. So this site is very good. You can go on that site. It will tell you about all the things you need to know. If you need to know if you're registered, just fill that out just to make sure. We don't know what's going on. You want to make sure that you are in line. Your registration is in, and you want to make sure that you're going to be counted. Okay, we want to make sure that's going to happen. And I'm also supporting a group called Women Writing with Kamala, and it's a great organization. Their goal is to get as many voters on as possible to sign up for supportive of Kamala. And you can visit the website. They also have a Facebook page, which is very good information. They are phenomenal women, educators, community leaders, mothers, students, youth educators. And we know that vote determines policies. We want to encourage women to participate in the political process, demand competent leadership, vote. So please visit that Facebook page, Women Writing for Kamala. So that too, you will have that information, and hopefully will give you a lot of information when it's time to vote. I want to thank everybody for joining Kitchen Talk with Leanne. As I always say at the end of the show, stay safe, wear your mask, and study those ballots. Study those ballots. You all have a great week, and I'll